Hello, everyone, and welcome to Winged Victory with Rob and Scott, a podcast by the National Museum of World War II Aviation here in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Well, hello. We have a special edition of Winged Victory today. I'm Rob Gale, my partner in pod crime, Scott Clares.
Hello there.
And our special guest, I keep saying that, is Julio Lopez Jr., aka Zorro, because go ahead and say hi. So we've got audio.
Hi, I'm Zorro Lopez.
There we go.
To be here.
He's wearing Air Force Special Operations patch. Those guys are near and dear to my heart after half of my career in various SOF positions. But Zorro is a docent at the museum, and I guess I'd like to start out, how did you find your way here to the museum?
That's a great question. I actually retired after 32 years in the military, and I was happy in my home state of Texas, loving it, playing golf every day, and then I get this call from my buddies at the Pentagon, said, hey, you need to come back to work. I go, to do what? And they said, well, the president just signed the Space Force into law, and I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about space. If you want to learn about helicopters, airplanes, I'm your man. So they called me again. They said, you said no? I said, dude, I don't know anything about space. They said, look, you're the kind of guy that gets stuff done. We know that. We need you. The president's only given us 5 years. So reluctantly, I said yes. Moved out to LA for 18 months to go build what is Space Systems Command.
What year are we talking here? What year was this?
And that was 2018.
2018, yeah. Okay.
So my wife said, what did you do? And I was like, okay, let's treat it like the Pentagon. The last tour I did at the Pentagon, I just commuted. I said, I'm going to geo-batch it. If I don't like it, I promise the man a year, I'm a man of my word, then I'll come back. If I do like it, sell the house. I'm there a week, and I loved it. It was awesome. And it's, whether you're building an airplane or you're building a satellite, it's the same appropriation, same laws, same rules. So I'm like, wow, I can do this.
So what were you doing?
I was helping, it's an acquisition background, so helping build the GPS-3 satellites, GPS-3Fs. And then we were in transition at the time we were changing all of SMC to SMC 2.0, which later became Space Systems Command, with restructuring, reorganizing it. So after 18 months, they moved me out here to Colorado Springs, and that's how I ended up here. So I went out to Peterson for 18 months to go help SPOC, Space Operations Command. Then I went out to Schriever for 18 months to go work with General James. I had not realized why they wanted me out there. One was to help him with NSDC and Delta 15, but the two-star there happened to be a Task Force 160th guy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We both were talking in first 5 minutes, and the guy introducing us goes, you know each other? And I said, well, we kind of all know of each other if we don't know each other, and we all know the same people.
That's the great part about SOF is it's still so small, even as big as it's gotten now, that your reputation really counts. Now we should mention that TF-160 is an Army guy, the Night Stalkers.
Yes.
You may have seen some of their flying in Black Hawk Down and elsewhere.
Yep.
But especially in the rotary wing community especially is tight.
Exactly, and we both flew the same aircraft, the MH-60G.
Yeah.
So when you look at them, they're pretty similar. So went out to help him, then went out and finished the last year at Garden of the Gods, and I was done with my 5 years. I said, great, I got to get around airplanes. I'd heard about this museum because I saw airplanes flying around the house all the time. I go, is there an air show going on? So he goes, no, there's a museum that actually flies these things here. And I went, you've got to be kidding me. So came down here.
Hooked.
Do you need any help? And they said, absolutely, and I just got hooked on this place. I love it. Enough about space. I love.
So you're not going back to Texas anytime soon, then?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, I got 2 kids in college. One of them here at Colorado State University. And
so now you're kind of get hooked in. You're kind of stuck here now.
Exactly.
A little bit. At least
Yeah.
Not a bad place to get stuck.
No, it's not terrible.
No, and this is the best place in the state to get stuck.
Yes.
So this is tidy. Well, we want to keep this as a family show, so we won't ask where Zorro came from. But when we were talking about the aircraft you've flown, you started out in Hueys, right?
I actually started out in the Army as a helicopter pilot. Spent
Yeah.
10 years there flying. I started at Hueys at UPT, Well, but immediately went to Cobras, so I was a cavalry officer. So flew Cobras for 10 years with, along with OH-58s and Blackhawks, because I was a test pilot in the unit. So I was pretty fortunate for me that I had ended up there, because during the drawdowns, we all had to find new jobs. And when they offered me to go back to the 25th Light Infantry Division in Hawaii, I went, no. Because we were getting rid of the Cobras. We were supposed to get Apaches, but they were giving us Chinooks, and like, I'm not going to Hawaii. Because in Hawaii, the first time I was there, we flew clockwise the first day, counterclockwise the next day. And then the third day I walked in, they said, hey, what did we do yesterday? I'm like, oh my God. I go, that's what helicopter flight is here? No, do not send me back to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So I was bummed, and a guy I was flying with said, hey, why don't you join the Air Force? They have Blackhawks, you're qualified, right? I'm like, they have helicopters? So I call them up, and the Air Force, instead of saying, I don't want an Army puke, they said, hey, could you go over to McCord and pick up a 1288 and send it to us? I'm like, what? Sure.
Okay,
6 months.
1288.
It was just a one-page form, believe it or not, with where you belong now and where you want to go next. And I'm like, this is it? So I submitted it. 6 months later, I had a lateral transfer. I found myself wearing Air Force stuff. I show up at Kirtland, where one of these beautiful airplanes sits there at Kirtland, because it used to be air rescue way back in the day. I show up at Kirtland right afterwards, and I go through training there. That's where all special ops and combat search and rescue is at. And a year later, I find myself flying missions in Iraq with the 55th Special Ops, and I went, what did I do to myself? That was just crazy.
Well, you're not doing counter-rotating
No.
circles every other day. You're definitely doing something a little more different.
Yeah, it was
more
very
involved.
exciting, very exciting. So
Yeah,
life was changed forever.
That's good work. Now, you mentioned the OH-58, what I take as the little bird, the Loach from Vietnam.
Yes.
Were you guys assigned those aircraft, or was that just something you got to fly?
No, they were, every gun company's got 7 guns per company and 3 OH-58s assigned to that. So that was fun. I also got to fly the little bird, the OH-6.
Yeah, okay.
That was cool too.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
didn't have those assigned. I just happened to be lucky to fly with a unit that had some.
So let's cut to the chase. What's your favorite?
I love the Cobra. The Cobra was awesome. I mean, it's only about 36 inches wide. You can look out both wings. You can fire the rockets, fire the missiles, fire the 20 millimeter cannon is connected to your eye. So everywhere you look, when you pull the action bar on the stick, you push the detent and it releases the cannon, and it follows your eye at 110 degrees left and right, 30 degrees up, 60 degrees down. Now, if your head exceeds those parameters, the little reticle will blink in your eye saying you're not in sync. But what was really cool was when you pull the first detent on the trigger, it would fire the first 3 to 6 rounds exactly right where you wanted them. And then if you pull it all the way, then it'll just keep firing. The bad thing is if you fire looking to the left or looking, either side, the aircraft starts to shake and your head will shake and the bullets go all over the place.
Is that because of the recoil?
Yes. It's a pretty big gun.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, not a real big airplane.
No, it's basically, that aircraft was a marvel. In less than a year, just about a year, they drew it from the drawing board, and it was shooting weapons in Vietnam.
Yeah.
They basically took a Huey and narrowed it down and made it a Cobra. And that was pretty cool.
Just made it a gunship.
Yep.
Yeah. And okay, so I'm now 4 for 4 pilots who've flown a lot of other things, but if they've flown the Cobra, that's their favorite.
It is.
That's interesting. Couple of Marines I worked for over at Northcom were Snake pilots.
Yeah, and especially learning how to fly the Cobra from all Vietnam vets. Because when I showed up at the unit, I was 22 years old, and they were all just in their late 30s, and every single one of them had been to Vietnam. And so I remember walking in the doors going, son, what are you going to teach me? And I was like, oh, glad I joined the Army. But they were the best. If you want to learn how to fly a helicopter, especially a Cobra, those were the guys to learn from. And I still talk to them to this day, the survivors that are still around. And I thank them all the time, because if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have survived all the combat tours I did.
Yeah, speaking of, you did like 5 combat tours?
I did 11.
11
deployments, yeah.
11 deployments, but one of them was pretty interesting that you guys actually have a little bit of a connection on.
Oh, for Noble Anvil.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you actually got recalled for that.
I did. I was telling Tony earlier, I took who is now my wife, girlfriend at the time, to go visit my family and introduce her to everybody, and it was a great time. And then when I looked up on the news at the bar, I went up to the bartender and said, "Hey, could you turn that up?" And he did, and both my brothers show up at the bar and they're like, "Something wrong?" I said, "I think that's a 117 stealth fighter just got shot down." And my brother says, "Is that a bad thing?" And I went going, "That is extremely bad."
Thing.
So I get back to the hotel room, and I knew that I was going to get recalled. So as soon as I get back to the hotel room, I get a phone call, and I get this orders by the president. "You've been ordered back to duty." I'm like, "You got to be kidding me, right?" And I kept interrupting him saying that. He goes, "Will you stop? Let me finish. You're ordered back to active deployment today. Show up to the unit within 24 hours. 72 hours later, I was in country in San Vito.
Yeah, and San Vito Air Station is kind of on the east coast of Italy, down south, freeway close to the Balkans, to the whole nasty thing that was going on. Apparently, declaring peace in Bosnia didn't really take. Those people have hated themselves and everybody else for hundreds of years, and the grudges go back hundreds of years. I think I alluded to some of that about Albania. So you're there with all the rest of the lunatic fringe, special forces, team guys, and I think by then our guys had already picked up the 117 guy.
Yes.
But then I think you guys got to play in another.
Yeah, then when the F-15 or F-16 got shot down, that was an interesting mission. So that was our unit that went in there and picked him up, and that was pretty cool. And at that time, it was still a combination of 53s and H-60s in there. But the problem with the 53, it was too big to land in there because the rotor diameter was just too big.
Huge.
And the H-60 went in there and actually picked him up and brought him back. And it was interesting because we're all doing this at night. Whether you're special ops or combat rescue, we train at night all the time. So I remember we walked in and the commander got up there and he said, "Okay, all rescue forces will be doing this in the day. All special ops guys will be doing this at night." Because at that time now, I'm in a rescue unit.
Yeah.
It's TSAR. And I'm standing next to Landau, who actually picked up who was in the reaction force in the 53 for the F-16 pickup. He looks at me and goes, "You're really going to go out there in the day?" And I went,
No.
Apparently so. And he goes, "Dude, that's Medal of Honor stuff."
It is.
And I'm like, "What?"
It is. You get this almost phobia about light, any light.
Yep.
But daylight?
Yeah.
I mean, the only gunship we've ever lost, we lost because they hung around too long, and the sun came up and they were gone.
So did you actually go out and do it during the day, or did they come to their senses?
No, they finally eventually all around came to their senses because we were getting shot at even at night.
Yeah.
And that was because mistakenly some of the guys would leave their lights on. And I said, okay, and it was funny because we would do that at Task Force Arc in Albania. They said, okay, all helicopters turn their lights on because we got 117s coming in, because they had an C-17 coming in once every hour dropping off Abrams tanks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I go, "So we need to have our lights on for what?" He goes, "So the C-17 can see you." I said, "I don't care if he sees me or not."
No, I'm going to see him.
I'm going to see him.
Yeah.
So I said, "Anybody on board have a problem with keeping our lights off?" "No, sir. Nope. Left gun." And I said, "Lights off." And he goes, "We can't see you." I'm like, "That's fine. I can see you."
I can see. I got you.
And we never got a bullet hole in Albania.
Yeah. Well, and the Serbs, I mean, in fact, the first interview with Charlie Hainline was talking about flying combat against those guys, and he said those gunners were good.
Yeah, he said they were really skilled.
They
Skilled
are.
gunners.
And it was, and they were, and also was their communication. We had a spook on board one day, and I'd met this guy many times, and nobody knew his real name, but every time I'd see him, he'd go, "Zorro," and I went, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" He goes, "Hey, good to see you too." And I said, yeah, but every time I see you, bad things happen. He goes, "We're going to get along just fine, Zorro, let's go." And I'm like, "Oh, crap." So he goes, "Okay, we take off." And of course, we're completely lights out. He goes, "Okay," and we're flying our route. And he goes, hey, Zorro, he goes, yeah, do you mind doing a 90-degree turn left? Sure. So I turn 90 degrees to the left. He goes, Zorro, could you do 180 degrees on that turn? Go back to the route. And I said, okay. I did. And he goes, you know what? We're done. Let's go back. I go, what? They got us. And he's monitoring their communications, cell phone to cell phone.
Oh,
how they're
so
keeping
they're
track of us. Yeah. And I
on
goes,
the ground.
We're done.
Yeah.
They know where we're going. I said, okay. We came back. I said, thank you.
So it's good to have them on board.
Yes, it is. It's
So-
just that every time those guys were on board, you knew we were going somewhere.
So 11 deployments.
Yes.
What would you consider maybe the most memorable of those deployments, or maybe the most exciting? Or if you could talk about it.
Sure. I think going in, I left right before Christmas, went to Kuwait to get ready for the invasion. So this is 2002. And it was cool because there was nobody out there except for just us, combat search and rescue. 3 helicopters all painted camouflage desert. And nobody had seen those. And we're the only unique birds that look like that. Fast forward 6 months and everyone's arriving Patriot. I mean, there's so many aircraft in the sky. And that very first night, we take off and we're going to go across the border. And the bad thing is there were no maps. We didn't know where the wires were. We didn't know where anything was behind that tank trap. So, and it's not like in training, it's really cool when they say, hey, you're taking fire at 3 o'clock and it's your opportunity to yank the airplane, pull up, do this, do that. It is so much fun. Mm-hmm. In real life, you're not doing that. Okay, we were down at 20 feet off the ground because we're trying to stay below 200 feet. I remember being so low, below 50 feet, and I'm flying off my FLIR, forward-looking infrared TV screen that's in front of me because my goggles, I can't see anything through them because there's no moonlight that night, and that was part of the invasion. But there's also a 4,000 layer thick made of dust, so no light gets through, no ambient light. So the goggles don't work at all.
No, but
so
IR does.
Great. So I'm going down, following this road, trying to stay on it, and all of a sudden my engineer goes, "Brake left, taking fire, 3 o'clock." And I went, "What?" And I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, I'm just barely moving. He goes, "Brake left, brake left." I'm going, and I remember my rotors are 53 feet in diameter. If I just pull the stick,
You're going to be hitting the
I'm
ground.
going to hit the ground,
Yeah.
right? And I look to the right, and sure enough, there's this AAA firing. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh, I'm trying to move. I'm looking at it. And I go, wait a minute. He's firing in circles. And he could hear me, but he can't see me. I'm like, thank God. And they're like, will you brake left? I go, no, we're just fine. All of a sudden, my gunner, who sits on the left, because the pilot sits in the right seat, co-pilot in the left. Behind me is the engineer. Behind the co-pilot is the gunner. And then in the back, we usually have 3 pararescuemen. So all of a sudden, the gunner says, "Brake right, missile, 9 o'clock." I go, "Missile? Crap." So I kind of just inch my way to it. Goes, "Will you brake right?" Whew, this plume goes up. And the cool thing, it lit up the whole area. That's a source of light. My goggles work. I'm like, yes, oh, there's the road. I'm off the road. I find the road, and then the missile disappears. I went, oh, crap, it gets dark. I'll go back to my FLIR. Then it goes, "Brake left, take it fire." There's another AAA gun firing in circles, trying to get the bullets onto us. And all of a sudden, another missile goes off. I go, yes, cool. Because I know the missiles aren't coming at me. They're going up to all the fighters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we get through, finally. And I'm going, yay, my heart's going like this. Oh, and the whole time I'm going, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. What's the rest of it? I went, so I say that one again, I say it again.
Yep.
And I cannot remember Psalm 23, but I'm trying to calm myself down.
Yep.
Even though I'm walking through the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And I go, what's the rest of it? I can't remember. And then we meet the tanker. We have to refuel. And of course, we're in a war zone. We're behind enemy lines. And we plug in, one on each side, and the tanker is so low. He's down to 200 feet. And so you're at a hose right behind, so you're below that. And all of a sudden.
That's an MC-130?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I've never heard.
We're flying with him, right? And all of a sudden, flares go off that 130, blind us again, and then he says, "Break away, break away, break away," because all of a sudden he's getting shot at with a missile. So we just leave. I'm like, great. Now I'm trying to get my goggles to see. I know that I'm really low to the ground.
Your night
I know
vision's smoked.
It is, and I'm at about 100 feet off the ground, and I can't tell of any slopes or hills or anything. And I'm trying not to hit something. And all of a sudden I see in our DME, because we have distance measuring equipment against each other, so my other aircraft keeps going, our DME keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're supposed to go to Talil that night. So we're the first helicopters to land there. And I said, look, just head to Talil. I'll meet you there. I'm not regaining on you here, because we were not going to join up.
No.
And I said, just take care of yourself. Don't hit the ground. And so we rendezvoused up at Talil. And that was an interesting time.
Say, how many missions were something like that, where you're just out of sorts the whole time, it felt like?
Oh, yeah, it's always like that.
Oh, my gosh.
But the cool thing is you train for it, train for it,
Yep.
train for it, train for it. I mean, our typical training sorties are 5 hours, and we did those about 3 nights a week. So you're doing that all the time. And so you're thinking about every scenario. The only thing that during training, you're not
Getting
bullets
shot at.
fired.
Yeah, real bullets.
So when you get that added, that's a whole nother level.
That's
And
pretty
then
awesome.
when
You're
you're
using the missiles for guidance.
It was.
You're like, thanks, keep launching those, would
Yeah.
you?
Yes.
Yeah, the guys up at 20,000 feet were probably a little less thrilled to have that happen.
True.
But you know, you gotta take whatever's given to you.
Right. And that night, as a matter of fact, we went to, I went to the, remember Ollie North was in the back of the
Yeah.
46, I believe. We went to the crash site that was in his formation, and I went to 7 crash sites that night. No one survived, and
Yeah.
including that one airplane that got shot down.
Yeah.
Transponder was out.
Yeah. And well, and that was the
What
Yeah.
time frame is this?
this
It's-
02,
yeah,
03?
March 03.
03,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it's that long ago, but it's
I
a
know, can you
long
believe that's
time
over
ago.
20 years ago? You know, and then we landed.
can't.
It was interesting. We were going to go to before we took off, we had sleeping bags, we had our jackets, we had rescue kits, all that. We were going to go to that crash site for the 46 crash. He said it's going to be multiple casualties. You're going to have to make room, so we left everything behind. We had nothing but our flight jackets, our flight suits, and that was it.
it's
So when we
cold at
landed
night.
up there, yes, when we landed at Tillel, we were freezing, and we were going to go inside one of the hazes, and there was a combat controller who had landed there. He goes, sir, you step back. You don't want to go in there. I go, why? He goes, he shines a light. There's a RPG booby trapped on the door. We're like, great. So now we're going to spend the night outside. So I'll never forget this. We're laying shoulder to shoulder, and we had gotten these little battery packs for our goggles so that it doesn't have to be connected to your helmet. So we'd connect those battery packs and just lay them on here so we could still use them. So I remember this pararescue man next to me, and he goes, sir, he goes, yeah, can I shoot the hyena? And I go, hyena? What hyena? He goes over there, and so I look, and I go, it's not a hyena, dude, that's a dog. Sir, he goes, yeah, can I shoot the dog? I'm like, no, you can't shoot the dog. I go, we're surrounded by the
Enemy.
third ID
Yeah.
out here. I mean, all these 18-year-old American soldiers, they had to fill the entire runway with all their vehicles, and they're getting ready to go on. And I go, that's a bunch of 18-year-olds out there
With
50
live ammo.
caliber machine guns bigger than us.
Yeah,
okay?
you
We're not
start firing that way, they're firing back.
Exactly. And he goes, sir, I have a silencer. The answer is no. I'll never forget that. It was so funny. I was just, really? Come on. And the hardest thing I had to do in combat was to keep people from shooting people or shooting anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause they're all
Unless
there.
you clearly knew who you were shooting at. That's tough.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. That's a
Yeah.
great story.
Rule number 4.
So now you get done. So you do a bunch of deployments. So you're back. Are you back in the United States?
Yes.
And then you're part of the Katrina.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when I came back, I spent another year at this unit, and then I went off to fixed wing training. So I went off to Enid, Oklahoma, learned how to fly T-37s and getting ready to fly a C-130.
So what brought that?
So I ended up coming back to Patrick, and I was brought in as a executive officer for the wing. And I remember showing up day one, and the wing commander's there. Zorro, welcome back. And I'm going to my office. He goes, go home, pack a bag. We're leaving. I go, going where? Katrina. I go, what is Katrina? In that whole drive coming back from Enid, Oklahoma, I never listened to the radio. I had no idea some hurricane was coming.
Yeah.
And I went, so I called my wife. I said, hey, would you pack me a bag? She goes, you're leaving already? We just got here. I said, yeah, going to somewhere called Katrina. What's that all about? So I go home, grab my bag, and figure out it's
Well, at least it was a hurricane and not
True.
you know, some competition for your wife. You know.
Yeah, I'm going to go see Katrina.
I'm going to go see Katrina.
Right. So we end up getting on a C-130, and we're flying to Louisiana. And we end up at Jackson, Mississippi is where we ended up.
Yeah.
We come in there, we land, and we're starting to set up for rescue. And I went, and I had been at Hurricane Floyd, where I'd saved 53 people, 2 dogs and 7 puppies during Hurricane Floyd the years before. So without that experience, it was great. So I was on-scene commander at Katrina, working with the wing commander while he was there for a few days. So ended up staying there for quite a while and directing operations. The largest collection of pavehawks in the United States was there. 25 helicopters.
Oh,
You'll
wow.
never see that again.
That's the inventory.
How they happened to be there was amazing, because we only own 98 of those in the entire Air Force. And we managed to collect like about 25, 26, if I remember right. And what was so cool is there were 1 or 2 helicopters coming from every unit, and we were doing high fives on the ramp, like, Zorro, you're in charge. This is awesome. Hey, Zorro. Guys I hadn't seen in a while. I go,
Yeah.
man, I thought you were in Afghanistan. Hey, I thought you were in Iraq. It was great. And so we ran 24-hour ops there. And President Bush was actually going to land there. And we're all excited about seeing him. And he decided to divert to somewhere else, if I'm right. And he goes, no, I don't want to disrupt operations. We all went, we could have got a chance to see the president. But we ended up rescuing 1,043 people during that. And one of the unique things that we learned at Hurricane Floyd was we would land one-wheel landings on these houses.
Yeah.
And then we'd get a pararescueman out there, and he'd take these, we had these miniature chainsaws, and cut a hole, and then would spray paint whether there was somebody in there or not. Because a lot of people drowned during Hurricane Floyd because they would all hide in the attic,
And then
but nobody had a tool.
nobody had a way to get
tools.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have tools to get out. So we went from place to place, and we saved a lot of people that way.
That's one of those lessons learned that needs to be
Yeah.
internalized.
And if you live in
by
a flood
anybody.
zone,
Yeah.
make sure you have some tools up there in the attic if you're going to use that.
Keep a chainsaw in the attic. There's words to live
And I
by.
mean, you've seen a lot of stuff in your career, you know, that's devastating and this and that. But I mean, what is that like to be flying over that? And what, I mean, in your words, and how did you feel about the whole situation?
What's interesting I remember when I flew over it the first time, I went to a flooded area, you know, it's raining and it's
Yeah.
at night. And so we always get selected to do the night because we train at night. So they're like, oh, here we are. Now we're doing it here at night. And what you have to watch out for in urban areas is the wires, because you
Yeah.
can't see those very well. And so while we have wire cutters everywhere on the aircraft, you don't want to run into those things. So you're running up that. It's usually still raining post-hurricane coming through.
dark? Yeah, so I guess you're not really seeing the mass.
No, and then you'll
destruction.
see floating animals, you know, decayed bodies. And what was really weird was to see coffins floating down, because they come out of the ground,
yeah.
as the ground gets soaking wet. And
wow.
I remember seeing coffins like you'd see at the Disney
Haunted
Mansion. Those kind of coffins, I go, man, those are really old. And then you'd see brand new shiny ones going down the rivers, and I go, wow. And what's weird too is seeing the headlights on and the dome lights on every car underneath the water, because the cars are now shorted. At first we went, hey, are there people in there? So we went from car to car to car. Maybe there's people in those cars, and we put the PJs
so
in
the water
water.
just turned on.
The water, shorts the
turning
car,
everything
and it'll
on.
be on. And I remember those cars being on for several days before those batteries gave out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, we did it for seven nights. I was shocked at how many people we still rescued on the 7th night, because people will hold out till the end, and then they'll turn on a flashlight going, okay, I've had enough, get me out of here.
Yeah. It's we did some work with the San Francisco earthquake, and we were there for, again, weeks. But you know, it's one thing you see people in bad situations overseas, but to see your fellow countrymen in such dire straits, that really affected me at the time.
Yeah, it's what's really cool about that I learned from combat search and rescue, as opposed to like being in the cavalry, was in the Army I trained to go kill people all the time, and so unless you actually go into theater, you don't get to practice that.
Right.
what was fascinating about combat rescue, everything you do in combat, you do in civil SAR. And I rescued over 70 people, just a lot of them in civil rescues, up in the mountains, plane crashes. You're doing everything's the same except for firing bullets. So you're well prepared by the time you're in combat on how to rescue somebody.
Well, that's amazing that you had that skill set and you're able to save so many people. I mean, do you ever hear from any of them at all, or?
I got thank you letters from some of them. There was I'm curious to see what happened to this little 2-year-old that we rescued once, but I always want to know what happened to them afterwards. But a lot of them would come by. I remember this one guy brought a keg of beer for us and said thank you, and we were all drinking this, and people walked in that night, and he goes, another keg? He goes, yeah, from someone we just rescued last weekend. He goes, rock on, and everybody's going, what? And I remember this one lady walked in, she goes, what do you guys do? And he goes, we rescue people. And it's such a fun job.
Well, what a great job. And that's, I think before we were saying, I out of all the SOF I've ever known or worked for or worked with, I admire the PJs the most.
Yeah.
And your story of, hey sir, can I shoot the dog? That fits too. But those people are amazing.
They're really incredible. They're pretty brave. I remember one particular rescue. This airplane tried to do a shortcut through the mountains, and he clipped the trees and ended up crashing, and it ended up upside down. And his wife and 2-year-old daughter were on board the airplane. So, and it was typical of rescue squadron. It always happened on a Friday. It seemed like,
because everybody's
trying.
It's Friday.
Weekend.
Yeah, it's Friday right before the weekend, and everybody's going home. They hear the attention in the building. All available crew show up at the soft desk, meaning safety of flight. So the safety of flight officer's there, and he goes, I go, what's going on? And you know it's only one thing. It's got to be a rescue mission. Everybody's running around, and they're starting writing names down. And I went, what? Because they start asking, hey, does anybody have a beer? Goes, okay, cool. So they'll try to assemble a crew. So they managed to get 2 of his crews. And what I always thought was fascinating was all the other crew members that are around that didn't get selected would immediately go run out to the aircraft, go get it ready for you guys.
Yeah.
Go copy maps. What do you need? Get your coffee. Call your wife. Say, hey,
guess
that's
what? A noble endeavor.
You
want to help.
And it's a team effort, and everybody wants to help. So when you didn't get selected, you still go, dude, what do you need? And
everybody wants to.
Yeah. And so we launched on that mission. He goes, just go. I go, we don't even know where he's at. He goes, just go. We're going to tell you. We're going to launch at 1:30 over, and we'll vector you in there. So we got to the Elkhorn Mountains. It took us a while to find him, but he had crashed near this volcano-looking area. And the beacon all of a sudden went off, and it echoed, and we're like, turn that off, because we couldn't hear each other. And we're looking and searching, and then we come to stop. He goes, the flight engineer says, I see him. I go, where? So my co-pilot's looking down, I'm looking down. We're on an 8,000-foot cliff. And the engineer goes, right there, puts his hand right between us, and I look up, and here's this fuselage with a hole about the size of a plate, and this hand's waving. And there's somebody who goes, I have the survivors. And so I come to a hover, and I'm having a hard time seeing, and I go, ropes, which is the command, throw the ropes out, and the PJs go down there. And so lead, because I'm number 2 at that mission, he comes back around behind me, and so I go back around. I go behind him, he comes in to drop off his PJs, and now I know who I can't see, because the bad weather's still there, so it's right at the 8,000-foot level. So the rotor blades are sucking down the clouds, and it looked like a movie. It looked so cool, but it's going on the windscreen, and you can't see anything, right? So he dropped off too, and then the PJs down the line goes, we need more help, send the last guy. So I come back around, and I told my co-pilot, I said, are you ready? This is his first mission. He goes, it's my first mission. He said, tell me now, are you ready or are you not ready? Because you still got to learn somewhere. And I was an instructor at the time, and he goes, yeah, okay, you got the controls, bring him in, drop him off. So he comes in there, and I'm looking around going, okay, getting situated, and whoever's not flying is monitoring all the instruments and doing all that. So he goes down, he comes in, and then we go down and land at a 6,000-foot level, meadow at about 6,000 feet. And the pararescuemen do what they do best, and they have to get this guy out. They get the pilot out, they get the daughter and the mom out. They secure the airplane, they tie it up, because remember, we produce 100-mile-an-hour wind into that aircraft. So lead goes in there, he goes, I'll go get the pilot, he does. and he leaves. And then I come in to get the daughter and the mom, and we're running out of fuel. We're getting to the yellow.
Always.
Exactly, and we don't have enough fuel to get to any hospital yet. So I'm like, and the tanker shows up. He's up above, but he's above the clouds. We can't see him. And he goes, okay, so coordinate with him with fuel. Get the mom on board. And I said, okay, cool, and I can hear that. And one of the pararescuemen leans over her and goes, we're running out of gas.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So she starts screaming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what did you do? So we're standing there and waiting for the 2-year-old to come up, and all of a sudden I hear this bam, and I went, what was that? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, what was that?
Out.
Did the flight engineer fall out? He goes, I go, pilot to FE. No answer. Pilot to FE. No answer. I go, dude, do you see him? He goes, I don't see him. I go, co-pilot to FE. He doesn't answer. And I'm like, did he fall out? So he leans over as hard as he can. He goes, I see his leg. Pilot to flight engineer, to FE, and no answer. What happened was, as the pararescueman is bringing up this 2-year-old, he's got her in his arms. He's getting closer and closer to the helicopter. Remember, we're on this 8,000-foot cliff. This kid, this 100-mile-an-hour wind, she freaks out, jumps out of his arms. So he lets go of the cable, grabs his kid by the ankles, and now he's spinning underneath the aircraft. So the flight engineer drops to the floor to grab the cable and twist it the opposite direction to remove the oscillations, right? When he did that, he disconnected. So he can't talk to, because his comm cord at the times were too short, and he disconnected himself, so we couldn't talk to him. So he finally gets the oscillations stopped, finally gets the 2-year-old on board, finally gets PJ on board. And goes, got him on board, and you can tell when you hear the door close, and he connects in, and he's like, get on board. I said, okay, I don't have time for this.
Let's find
and I
some
said,
gas.
is it clear to the left? And he's like, what? And meanwhile, the pilot had just passed away on board the other aircraft. Because he apparently had been scalped when he ended up there upside down. And so we fall down this cliff, and we're going down this canyon, and we're going to the hospital in Boise. And it was so cool to see the tanker, and my hat's off to those guys. They went through the clouds into the canyon for us, and
the tank,
and the PJs and the co-pilot are doing high fives. I go, stop with the
We're
high
not
fives.
done yet.
It's not done till the battery switches off.
Yeah.
So I go in there, I plug in, and everybody goes, yay, and they high five. I go, will you guys knock that off?
What did I just say?
Exactly. So, and of course now the little chicklets, are still in the yellow, and they're blinking, and we go, okay, it takes forever for the first green ones to show up. It seems like an hour. Green, yes, and everybody goes, yay. I'm like, stop. So we end up getting the gas, and long story short, we fly all the way out to Boise, and I have no idea where the hospital is. I said, we need to get them to a hospital. Could you give us radar vectors? And he does. He goes, see that big white building left of the river? And he talks us through, and he gets rid of traffic, and we drop off the PJs and the 2 survivors. And I said, okay, can you direct me to the airport? He goes, yep, follow the river. And I said, okay, see that, turn left. Came in, and our number 1 engine, I believe, or number 2, flamed out. And I'm like, oh my God, that's how little fuel we had. And so we get out, and I walk over, and here's the C-130 there. And I go to the pararescueman, and I said, dude, what happened back there, to him and the engineer? And he's shaking physically like this, and he's shaking. He goes, sir, the Air Force teaches you how to carry a 200-pound man for 3 days in any weather condition, but they don't teach you how to deal with a 2-year-old. Next time I'm going to stick him in a frick bag, I'm going to zip it up and carabine it to the thing. And I went, okay, all right, calm down. And he goes, sir, I came this close to passing out. I almost let her go, and because he was spinning. And I go, but if I dropped her, I had a plan for that. I go, what was your plan? He goes, I was just going to jettison myself. I said, great. I'd have a dead kid and a dead PJ.
Yeah.
He goes, sir, I couldn't live with myself if that happened. That was a very memorable civilian rescue.
Oh man, that is intense.
And that's.
And you guys just do that. That was just you know, that's
Another-
every
another
day,
day
kind
at
of
work.
another day at work.
It
Yeah,
is.
except for, you know, you weren't training it. It was real, but
It's funny you say that because when medals come around, they go, dude, you're just doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes, yeah, and we were. But yeah, and then that's easy to translate to combat. All you do is just do it
Yeah.
at night and bullets are flying.
well, I know that I was going to have some more questions for him, but I think that we're going to have to hold off and
Oh yeah.
we're going to have to do another one of these things with you because you
Yep.
just got so many stories. It's just ridiculous. I mean, we didn't get to touch on, you know, flying cover for the president or
Oh, yeah.
any of the other. There's a lot of stories that I get to hear at beer time that we just
Well,
don't have time for. So
That's okay, because I think we have more time.
Zorro.
It'll just be on a different occasion.
Right.
we really appreciate you sitting down with us today.
It was my pleasure.
Thanks for
I
all
enjoyed
the stories, and we're
Yep.
definitely going to do this again. So start thinking about them, and I want to hear them.
All right.
Thanks, Zorro.
Okay.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, that's quite a story. I mean,
Peacetime's more exciting than wartime.
geez Louise, I can't believe how close that kid came to dying twice in one day. But
Yeah.
I mean, due to those heroics, you know,
Yeah.
there's somebody out there that's still living their life.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Well, we need to circle back on this one for sure.
Yeah, you know, Zorro's got all kinds of stories. Like I said, we've sat and talked after hours on Saturday,
Yep.
you know, having beers, and the stories are a little more colorful at that point than we could probably do on here, but definitely there's so many to pull from. I just,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, it's just a continuous treasure trove around here, but certain guys have definitely a lot more to grab from, so
Well,
I'm looking forward to doing another one with them.
it's a good bunch around here. There's many stories in the Naked City, as the old TV show used to say.
I don't know what old TV show that is, but I'll let you have it.
Yeah, well, I was young in those days. That's how old it is. But we'll see when this one drops. This might be a time to wish everybody a safe and prosperous New Year.
Yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and hopefully we'll continue this into the new year and get bigger and better with it.
Yep.
I'm excited about
Yep.
it. As this is being filmed, actually I'll be heading out to ICAS. That's the air show convention in Vegas, and we'll be filling up our air show schedule
Yep.
with some pretty amazing acts. I'm really, really excited about some of these guys, and I'm sure there's a few guys there we might run into that we might put in that I'm not even aware of yet.
No, that'll be great. That'll
Yeah.
be great. You can talent scout for us.
And then looking really forward to that. So
Yep.
we're gonna, that's about all that's going on here. Maybe we'll be doing some more taxi tests on the P40E at this point.
Yeah, that'll be fun to see.
We've already done a few engine runs and everything's going pretty well. So we're moving forward with that, or we'll be painting it, one of the two. I'm not sure what we're doing with it yet.
No, that'll be great to see. That's one of my favorite airplanes of all time.
Yeah, you and me both. So I'm really excited to see
Really
this thing in
exciting.
the air.
Well, I think speaking of favorite airplanes, we should probably include the Coleman clip at the end of this again.
Yeah, just stay tuned here in a few minutes, and we'll just have that History's Greatest Aircraft. Yeah, and the docu-series that they filmed, and we got the trailer at the end of this.
Yeah, that'll be good.
So once again, for our guest, Zorro, and producer William Stephenson in the back, my partner Rob Gale, and myself, Scott Clares, stay safe out there.